Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we have confirmation, not of a lot of things, but we have confirmation the next Hearthstone balance patch has been finalized. It's coming. We don't know what it's gonna have, although we have a major hint of at least probably two of the cards, but one of the cards we're gonna talk about. And also we're just gonna talk about how this meta keeps getting worse, and we really need that balance patch now. As we have HSreplay numbers, as you can see, that don't look very good, and the most recent Vicious Syndicate Data Reaper report has come out that shows things are even more bleak. So we're gonna go over all of that. And if you enjoy the content on the channel and you want to be updated as soon as we finally find out what these changes are, with all the Blizzard stuff going on with the layoffs, probably gonna get pushed back in some way, I would imagine, but hopefully not. But again, I'll let you guys know as soon as possible. Hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like, it helps us out a lot. And well, yeah, HSreplay numbers, we'll take a look at the numbers, but what do I mean by confirmation that things are there's a patch coming and what cards are happening? Well, we had a pretty downvoted little thread here on Reddit, like 0% upvote. So I wonder if this got lost in the shuffle of things, but there was a thread made, Syndicate nerf will make me sad. And I'm not saying the card's getting nerfed, but this player is assuming that, not because of Paladin. I'm a WoW player and have so much to enjoy in playing Excavate Shaman, and a big part of it staying together is Syndicate being a nice swing in the mid game. It's such a shame the devs were too hollow to see that printing a decent Wind Fury option for Paladin is stupid. It's just sad that Excavate Shaman gets a nerf because they printed for both. I wish it was just a Shaman card. Again, there's no confirmation of that. And there was somebody that kind of said, well, what about, if anything, I would expect the Garden's Grace, that card there, to be the nerf target over Syndicate. And the reply from the community manager over at Hearthstone, Ridiculous Hat, replied with, hey, that's a cool idea. And I don't think Hat's gonna go out of his way to hint something like that if probably Garden's Grace is going to get nerfed. And he was also followed up, he did reply again here, I know you're teasing, I know that's not a hint, please let it be a hint. And Ridiculous Hat said the patch has been finalized, so it's done. They know what they're gonna be nerfing, buffing, whatever. The notes haven't been published. As of recording this, they don't exist, so yes, they haven't been published yet. I'm sorry, but I can't comment during the grace period, which is like when they're trying to get it like localized and get it ready for all regions at once. So yes, we are expecting finally confirmation a balance patch is coming. Today is Friday. I highly doubt it's gonna go live tomorrow. So we're looking at like probably on Tuesday next week. Patch notes probably on Monday. But what do we need? Like, what does Hearthstone desperately need? We could give our little predictions and all that. I have no idea. I'm completely out of the loop on this one. This one caught me by surprise as well. And looking at HSreplay, again, the numbers are bleak, right? We have 3 classes above 50% across all ranks: Paladin, Warlock, and Druid. Rogue's pretty close. That's with Velorok getting it unbugged and working again. It's broken again. And Death Knight being somewhat there. And then a lot of classes just struggling. Hunter, Warrior, yes, Brand and all that, not thriving whatsoever despite its popularity. I don't know if it's just targeted super heavily or the deck just isn't good enough. It is not thriving. Shaman struggling, Priest struggling, Demon Hunter only doing really well at High Legend, and Mage is basically non-existent because they didn't really get any mini set cards. Like they didn't. I mean, take a look at the meta at High Legend. It kind of echoes that, right? Aggro DH, like I said, DH does well at High Legend. That's that whole Naga Sharpshooter thing that I've complained about a billion times. Sludge Warlock, Mill Druid. So yes, due process, a tier 1 strategy. That's not good for anybody. Mining Rogue, Treant Druid, Shatter Druid, Plague DK, Mining Paladin, and then like there's one tier 3 deck, and then all the bad decks at the bottom. Like there's just not a lot of diversity. 3 Druid decks out there. That's pretty rough. And Vicious Syndicate put out their Data Reaper report, and it's very similar. Despite Arena Warrior being incredibly popular, it ain't that great. There's not that many top tier decks with Sludge Warlock, a Naga Demon Hunter, Excavate Rogue, a Ramp Druid, Aggro Paladin, Treant Druid, Dragon Druid doing all well. So What needs to get changed? Well, I think we need a massive balance patch. I don't think we need 1 or 2 changes. I literally think every one of these decks in some way. We already know like Valorok likely getting nerfed. Now we know Garden's Grace likely getting nerfed. But I think every one of these classes need a nudge. I feel like Sludge Warlock probably got a bit over buffed. Those 4 damage is a lot. So let's take a look at the decks and see what, we could see realistically getting changed. So again, I'll disregard the Paladin stuff because we already know. I don't think if they're going to hit Garden's Grace, I think that's probably just start with that. Because again, the deck really falls off at higher ranks. And if you slow that down, maybe make it 12, 14 mana, that could do well. The only other thing I would suggest, Boogie Down. Again, you could take the Holy Tag off of it. That also slows down Garden's Grace significantly. That's one of the best ways of cheating it out. Those are the 2 cards I would look at rather than Shroomskavate or the new Sir Finley, the Intrepid. For Warlock, again, I feel like it might have got overbuffed, right? The barrels of sludge do 4 instead of 3. Wasn't that long ago that Crescendo got buffed from 3 to 2 mana. Sludge on Wheels got an extra attack. Like, there's a lot of cards in here that are just like, if you play on curve, you win the game. Like, you play a 1-drop, then you play Disposal Assistant, you play Sludge on Wheels into Waste Remover, which then just deals like 12 damage and is a 4-mana 7/7. You just win the game, right? Like, the curve on this thing is just ridiculous, and it does have some late game validity, just with like Pop Guard, just being able to like clear the board full heal with a Crescendo and all of that. I feel like something needs to get like reverted. Unbuffed. I don't think you unbuff the barrels. I think they stay at 4, but something has to give, because if you nerf everything else, this deck will be a menace, and it's not super fun to take all that base damage. And they got like the new tools like Trog Gem Tosser, really good card. Chaos Creation, really solid card. There's just, this deck does a lot, and it's very, very punishing. And I think this deck has to get nerfed in some way. I think it was slightly overbuffed, especially with the support it got in the mini set. Again, Mining Rogue, we know that it's probably just going to be Valorok. Again, it could lose health. It probably goes to 4 mana though. That would be a much more significant change, or making it 2 cards played while in hand, but that might not even be enough. I'd rather see it go to like 4 or something at this point. I said earlier on like a 3-3 or 3-4, but it's just so ridiculous with Step going face. I really don't know if that's enough, but again, tempoing out, it's the whole sharpshooter thing. And well, when we're speaking about Demon Hunter, again, that deck is always trending really high. This card needs to go to 4. It should have gotten to 4 a long time ago. But again, if you leave this deck unchecked, then it's going to dominate too. So Sharpshooter is the deck. It's the whole reason it does what it does. And I don't think a 3-drop should be able to kill you in 1 turn when you hit like 5 or 6 mana. That is just ridiculous to me. And whether it goes to 4 or you give it possibly like the, you could give it the treatment of dealing 1 damage instead of 2. You could do that too. Very similar to the old Naga, right? That went from a 2-4 to a 1-4, Lady Athena. That is also an option. Just put the damage output lower. One of the other things. You could put it back, I guess, to 5 health if that's the case, but you need to hit that deck too, despite the fact it's not super popular, but it will dominate. Of course, Druid is like the elephant in the room. You have Treant Druid, which is super dominant, and you have Ramp Druid. Starting with Ramp Druid, Pen into Earth needs to change. This card is it's just ridiculous right now with Naga Giants, 3 mana, gain 20 armor. You can do what you want, right? You're not going to die. It takes forever to kill you. And then when you play it twice, it's 40 armor if you hit both. Like, I saw a really good suggestion on Reddit. Instead of making it just 4 mana, have it discover a minion from your deck, gain armor equal to its health. I like that a lot, right? Like, maybe it breaks it in wild with the darkness, which gives you 20, but you're getting like 8, 7, 5. That's a good amount of armor. You draw a minion. That's a lot more reasonable than 20 or 10, right? Like, I think that's a pretty solid idea. But yeah, you can make it 4 mana. And then the other card that absolutely needs to get changed is Shadow Reflections. It's just, you can't even change the mana on this, right? It's the interaction it has with Eonar, where you just play Eonar, refresh it, copy it, and then, you know, draw your deck or what. It's just, it's silly. It's just absolutely silly. I think most of us saw it coming. I know I had a tweet about it well before it came out. And I just feel like choose a non-Titan minion would help out a lot. You could still do silly stuff with like Fizzle, with your, what's the other thing you like to copy up? You could copy Giants, I don't know, but Fizzle, Ignis, things like that, right? You could still get crazy value, but not just game-breaking, board-altering states that Titans provide. And the Colossals rotate, so if you're worried about copying Colossals, they're rotating very soon, and it really is that tight interaction that is busted. Because yeah, when you have cards like Due Process that are meta in the game, that's just not good. If you play Wild, you know how awful this card is. I firmly believe a 2-mana card should not affect both players for the rest of the game when another player has no option to deal with that. Like, I would change this card, honestly. I make Due Process like 4-5 mana. I would make it not double-sided in some way. Like, Celestial Alignment was that problem too, right? I just don't think that's good design. And anytime a card is meta like this, it's just not good. And you know Rogue is really, really busted. Or sorry, Rogue on the mind. Druid is really busted when Death Beetle hit rank 1 legend. There's been Death Beetle list to hit rank 1. Druid is super overtuned. And we're not even talking about Treants, where it's another one where you look at Treants, you could be like, well, maybe Cultivation shouldn't come down nearly as fast. You can make this more expensive. The Garden's Grace issue. The other outlier, there's only really 2 big outliers. The other one being Herald of Nature, where you could make the stats less on this. And I guess Cactus Construct, which all the decks run, you could discover 2-cost minion summon a 1/1 copy. I don't know how much that changes things, but those are the cards. And I do expect Treant Druid to get hit too. Like, you can't just leave Treant Druid alone too. Druid's just out of control in every aspect. Like, it's just, I think Malfurion's had his time. Give him a little hit, and then the next expansion, they'll break him again. They always do, right? So I expect major Druid changes to come. I don't think you hit Plague Death Knight. I just think Plague Death Knight is good into all of these decks. And honestly, I don't even want to talk about buffs or anything like that, because it feels like every time, like, yeah, Mage isn't great right now, but if you buff something, then you're going to overbuff. It's going to be problematic because they nerf something else. I don't know. A lot of these buffs have led to these problems, and I just want to see some serious power dialed back on these problem classes. And I almost forgot, Thaddeus. Thaddeus needs to get nerfed. Remember Pyrotechnician? It's been banned for over a month, and it wasn't even the problem card. It was Thaddeus the whole time. It is still a problem card. I think you boost the mana cheat. It could be like cost 5 less, 6 less, but not less than 1. Make it so you can't cheat out the cards for not less than 1. You can revert it when it goes back to Wild. Maybe, I don't know. Wild's already degenerate enough. They don't really use this, but they could. Regardless, Thaddeus is almost certainly going to get hit in that patch. We can finally free Pyrotechnician from Blizzard jail. Anyways, those are my suggestions / predictions. We'll find out what these changes are, I guess, in the next few days, next week. Of course, I'll keep you guys posted on that. Feel free to tell me in the comments down below what you would like to see get changed and all that good stuff. Enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.